And now I would like to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Mohamed Mohdessin, who is a familiar face for many of us. He is a former political prisoner during the Shah regime. He has written several books on Islamic fundamentalism and on Iran, and he chairs the Foreign Affairs Committee of the National Council of Resistance of Iran. Mohamed, please, I give you the floor.
Thank you very much, Gerard, for your kind words. Thank you very much for all of friends, members of Parliament, who are supporting our people and our freedom movement organization. Dear friends, I am very glad once again to be here and exchange with you my ideas. I take this opportunity to share a few points with you. First point is that the violation of human rights in Iran continues very severely. The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights said the day before yesterday, on September 11, that since the beginning of this year, at least 4 children have been put to death, and until at least 89 other children are on the row of the death. As Gerard said, 101 prisoners were executed just in this July. The West and the European Union have been silent against these crimes, which encourages the mullahs, the Iranian regime, more than anything else, to continue their crimes. The bitter reality is that this silence has been going on for 3 decades. The massacre of 30,000 political prisoners in 1988 has been the largest political crime after the Second World War, a genocide and a crime against humanity. As Mr. Deprez said, the Special Representative for Human Rights in Iran called very recently for a thorough and independent investigation into these events. Silence against this crime is a green light to the regime for subsequent crimes. Second point, sometimes argued that executions are an internal issue of Iran, and the European countries' problem is trade with Iran in one hand, and in the other hand, the nuclear issue and the regional problems in the region. Therefore, the interests of Europe require that they do not confront the Iranian regime on the human rights issue. This is the argument which we are hearing here and there. Sacrificing human rights values for the sake of a religious fascism is a serious violation of the values that the European Union was based on. But at the same time, it is a naivety. A regime that treats its people so ruthlessly does not adhere to any promise and pledge. Over the past 3 decades, neither has the Iranian regime paid any price for mass executions, nor has it been responsible for violating international treaties on the nuclear issue, nor has it paid any price for its crimes outside Iran, in Syria and Iraq, nor has it been punished because of its terrorist acts in Paris, Berlin, Geneva, Rome, and Istanbul, and Beirut, and Buenos Aires, and Washington, D.C., and elsewhere. The regime simply concludes that it has a free hand for any crime inside and outside of Iran. In fact, due to political consideration and economic interest, the international community has given immunity or impunity to the mullahs ruling Iran. The third point, the Iranian regime, unlike what it pretends to be, is engulfed with so many crises and is extremely shaky. If one day it stops repression and export of terrorism, it will quickly be overthrown. This is not the claim of the opposition. This is what the regime itself acknowledges too. Mrs. Rajab, the president-elect of the Iranian resistance, said in the grand gathering of Iranians on July 1st that the overthrow of this regime is a necessity for peace and tranquility in the region and the world. At the same time, this overthrow is accessible, and there is a legitimate and powerful alternative to that regime. Let me conclude. A true policy about Iran starts with human rights. At the heart of the human rights issue in Iran is the 1988 massacre. Therefore, we ask the European Commission, the High Representative, and the EU member states the three following measures. First, to call for the formation of a commission of inquiry into the 1988 massacre and the referral of its dossier, the dossier of 1988, to the International Criminal Court by the United Nations Security Council, so that the perpetrators of this crime will be brought to justice, the very same individuals who are still at the highest government level. Second, as Mr. Deprez said, the continuation and expansion of trade relations with this regime be conditioned on the cessation of a stop of executions and torture. And third, to recognize the right of Iranian people to change the mullah's regime and establish democracy and people's sovereignty in Iran. I ask the members of the parliament, our friends at the parent of our Iranian people, to take steps to fulfill these demands, whether before the European Commission, the High Representative, or the member states. Thank you very much.